if you're an entrepreneur, I think you need to be in control of your headline.
Controlling the story.
Whatever headline you want to put out in the world, your brand, your message, your mission, your cause, all of that stuff. Let people say what they're going to say, do what they're going to do. But you need to be in control of your headline.
Right.
Is that important?
It is. It's the most important thing. And I do believe that you need to take control of your brand or somebody's going to take control of it for you. And that's why when people say, oh, how important is building my personal brand? I don't think it's a difference maker. I think building your personal brand is the biggest difference maker.
Really?
I think that's actually what separates you from the person next to you.
Welcome to the Excellence Project. My name is Eric Worre, and today you're going to hear from the CEO and founder of Authority Titans, which is a PR firm. And we're going to talk about how to build a brand, why to build a brand, why it's so important, why you should control your own headline of how you're viewed in the world, and use all that to attract your tribe. I think you're going to enjoy it. So with no further ado, let's jump into my conversation with Dillon Kivo. Dillon Kivo.
How's it going, man?
I'm doing good, doing good. So Authority Titans.
Yep.
You're founder, CEO. You've spent the last 7 years helping people build their brand.
That's right.
Yeah. So in today's world, it's kind of interesting because everybody, one, has the opportunity to build a brand. And two, there's huge upside.
Sure. Absolutely.
In their image, their reputation, their reach, their authority. I think Authority Titans is an interesting name, because people are looking for authority. And whether people are in network marketing building organizations or entrepreneurially building organizations, I think kind of taking charge of your brand is an important thing. And we're seeing it more and more with celebrities. Celebrities will be like, The Rock will, kind of go from WWE to movies, and then he'll add a tequila.
Yeah.
And why add a tequila? Because part of his audience will drink that, and he got 30% of a company. He's now worth $6 billion.
I know.
More than he'll ever make as a Hollywood star or as WWE or whatever. Locally here, Mark Wahlberg is obviously very famous, but he has something like 12 companies that I know of. Yeah. Everything from Wahlburgers, apparel, with municipal, with something Azul, another tequila
company. Yep.
He's got production company. He's got a million different things he's got going on. Like literally he did like automotive group. He's got,
I know, all over the place.
Yeah. So why is he able to do that? Why is The Rock able to do it? Why does Gwyneth Paltrow, can she build her brand and then launch Goop, which is this whole kind of a holistic approach with products and services necessary. So it's super interesting to watch this happen, but not just celebrities.
I know.
But now average people, little micropreneurs, entrepreneurs, influencers. Matter of fact, I think the number one most wished for career for young people today is to become an influencer,
YouTuber,
or a YouTuber.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So you've been spending the last 7 years in this space. Tell me what you're seeing and what your views are on brand.
Sure. So starting off with the views, we all have a brand. We all have a personal brand. You have Mark Wahlberg and Taylor Swift and all these A-list celebrities, as we call them. Sure, they have a brand just like we do. The difference is they're able to monetize off their brand. So it's like, no matter if you're starting off with social media or if you're trying to get into movies or whatever the case is, you need to build your brand by posting on social and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and all of that. So that's kind of more of the how of build a brand.
What's the difference in your opinion between brand and reach? Because
sure,
they're not able to. Sometimes people will come in and they'll be endorse a watch company or something,
right?
Because of their brand, because they're a Hollywood star or whatever. But most of these bigger opportunities show up for people with reach.
Sure.
So they might be known for something, but
Right.
do they have reach? Do they have an audience that is listening to them? Are they influential?
Sure. Yeah.
With that audience. So when I say the word brand,
Right.
what comes to your mind?
Reputation.
Your reputation.
I'd say that your reputation is the closest aligned word to a brand.
All right. So talk about, sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
And you can finish that thought, but what's the difference between brand and reputation?
Brand is more of what does your brand say about you when you're not in the room? The brand is who is Eric when Eric's not here.
Mm-hmm.
And so the brand is what differentiates you compared to everybody else in the room, because that's like, it's the differentiating factor. It's who you are. The difference of your brand versus mine is you're Eric and I'm Dillon. There's a lot of things that I've done in my life or in my past that people know me about. And there's things that you've done where people really respect and trust. And, you have credibility with what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
And your brand is everything besides your name. It's everything that you stand for.
So reputation is very similar. It's just another word for it.
I'd say it goes hand in hand. There's also, instead of using reputation, people use the word like credibility and authority. So there's different ways to really describe reputation as well.
And can people, I've seen people who maybe are very controversial.
Sure.
But they still have reach.
Right.
So their reputation might be divided.
Right. Look at Dana White, for example.
Dana White or Andrew Tate or Tucker Carlson or any of the political figures. Like half the world, half the population is on one side, half's on the other side. Mm-hmm. Or even like a Grant Cardone, or they're polarizing figures and they kind of don't care.
Right.
Do you need to be polarizing in order to be able to build a brand?
I don't think you need to, but I do think that it does help. I think the more polarizing you can be, there's always going to be people that can relate with the polarization that you have anyways, regardless of what side of the aisle that you're on. There's always going to be people that do agree with you. And there's also going to be people that disagree with you. And I think that the more polarizing you can be, the more trust and the more vulnerable that you are, the more people can relate.
Is it more interesting if you're more polarizing? Because I've had different conversations. I had a conversation with Dan Fleischman sitting in that chair.
Sure.
And he said, as a business person, it's not worth it to be polarizing. There's certain things you should just avoid.
Sure.
Because you're going to alienate a good portion of your audience that loves you right now. And if you give them that opinion of yourself, then they're going to hate you.
Right.
And your reach is going to diminish.
Yeah.
And Brad Lee was sitting in the same chair and he said, the people who love you, you will grow more by being authentic than what you will lose on the other side, the people that say they're not going to follow you. So I'm curious, in reputation, in brand, in polarization, in being controversial, one, you have to be pretty thick-skinned.
Oh yeah,
to be able to deal with hate.
Sure.
Or people taking unfair shots. I've had my share of unfair shots.
Yeah, me too.
From trolls out there. But where do you land as far as, I'm sure from a PR standpoint, running your agency, it's probably easier for you
absolutely
to represent somebody who is going to stir things up.
My opinion is I think you can do both. So I actually land in the middle. The reason I land in the middle is because depending on what brand or a business that you're representing, I think it either allows you to kind of step outside of that line. But if you're let's just say you're a pastor. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of things where you do have to kind of stick to that, the principles. Mm-hmm. And you have to kind of be PC about everything that you do because you have a lot more people now that are entrusting you with everything, with their beliefs and their their thoughts and all of that, where you can't just say anything off the hook because you're going to get a lot of flack for that. But more importantly, you have a duty as a pastor to lead people in a certain direction. So I think that, and everybody has their own opinions on that. And I don't think either person's right or wrong.
Well, here's how I judge right or wrong. Consequences.
Sure. Yeah.
That's how I judge right or wrong. As far as, was this a good decision or bad decision? What are the consequences of that decision. It's a really good way to kind of, you can talk all day, but there are consequences for certain things.
Sure. Yeah.
And you take a Dana White, who I admire, and he's a friend. Mm-hmm. He gets a lot of consequences for some of the positions that he takes, and he just doesn't give a shit. He just literally doesn't care. And he's such a rare person. Like, he gets a lot of hate for Trump because Trump supported him when nobody else did. The UFC was just starting. They're good friends. Trump comes to his events and sits in the front row. They hang out, and he doesn't say anything bad about Donald Trump.
Right.
So he takes a lot for that. Or people will take shots at him for fighter pay or this or that. And all different types of things. And he just literally doesn't care. But now, I think we're in a culture, and I'm super curious as to your opinion on this, where there are some topics that are very scary.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
If you start discussing LGBTQ+, if you start discussing trans rights or issues, abortion, religion.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one.
Guns, gun rights.
Yep.
You're going to,
get blackballed for saying certain
You
things
can
like that.
literally be attacked so hard. Mm-hmm. I know people that have spoken on these topics with their authentic opinion.
Sure.
And had the opposition group target them for cancellation.
Happens every day.
Literally smashing all the hate speech buttons they can hit on YouTube until that account gets flagged and taken down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thousands.
Happened to Andrew Tate as well.
Andrew Tate got canceled. People have lots of opinions on that. We talk about it. So whether in his case, he's still dealing with his legal issues, but in his case, he's kind of bigger than ever, even after being canceled from social. But some people have their businesses on social, all that stuff, the reputation, all that. For me, talking about race issues.
Yeah.
Who am I to talk about it? I just need to be respectful, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Be respectful and try to learn.
Yeah,
that's
all you can do.
That's what I need to do. Try to learn. Try to raise my awareness. Try to be understanding. Try to be a friend. All of that. If I throw in some hard opinion on that, like a Dave Chappelle, he's kind of earned it.
Right.
Dana White's kind of earned it.
Uh-huh.
Some of these different people have kind of earned it, but maybe they earned it by just not caring.
I'm curious to see what your question is on this. Do you think they've always been this way, or do you think once they hit the top, then they were just kind of showing who they are? And I'm not saying that they're bad people. I think they're phenomenal people.
I don't know.
But I wonder if they've always been so vocal about it, and then, you know what I mean? Like, can you still reach your goals by being vocal on a very controversial topic, or does that hinder your possibility of hitting your full potential?
It's certainly going to be more interesting.
I'm sure.
And we're living in a world that is kind of entertainment first. Even if it's build them up, tear them down.
Right.
All these different things. It's interesting. I mean, do you know who Jim Rohn is?
Yes.
The personal development, godfather.
Yes.
He's passed away, I don't know, 10, 12, 13 years ago. But a real good mentor. And he was a kind of the example to me of the model to follow. He had his positions, like, for example, on religion. You could tell he had a religious background, because he would tell stories and, he would quote stories out of the Bible, things like that. But you wouldn't be able to tell which denomination. You wouldn't be able to tell which church he went to, really. He was very kind of inclusive about the lessons learned in it. He was very respectful. And I've just kind of decided to take that approach to try to be a uniter as much as I could instead of a divider. And now at the same time, there's others who just like became super, super, super Christian,
right?
Or super, super, super atheist. You take a Bill Maher on HBO. He's decided I'm going to be an atheist and I'm going to just tell everybody that I'm an atheist and they can just deal with it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe as I'm saying this, maybe the secret is don't give a shit. I don't know.
I mean, no matter what you believe, there's always going to be hundreds of millions, maybe even 1 or 2, 3 billion people that believe the exact same thing you do. Yeah. Whether it is religion, whether it's politics, talking left side of the aisle, right side of the aisle. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world. There's going to be a ton of people that agree with you, and there's going to be a ton of people that disagree with you. And I think that at the end of the day, it's what can you live with? Can you know what I mean? Can you live with not kind of biting your tongue? Again,
right or wrong is a form of consequences, right? People
say,
we have the right to free speech here in the United States. Yeah, but you don't have a freedom from consequences clause. You can legally say whatever you want, but other people can react to that.
Sure.
In a way that will provide some consequences for you.
Right.
And you're not free from those. You have to deal with those. So real life example, somebody has a team of 1,000 people, network marketing team. They got 1,000 people. If we had an honest poll on any topic, of the controversial ones I listed.
Sure.
And let's say, 60-40 or 50-50 or 55-45.
Right.
And we decide for our reasons, let's say it's gun rights. I'm going to go hard on guns. I'm going to post about my guns and I'm going to go shoot stuff and I'm going to hold up my trophies in Africa and I'm going. I'm all guns all the way. I'm blowing stuff
just
up
guns
at
out.
the range. I'm guns, right? You're not free from the consequences of the half of your team that might become wildly offended by that. And it could impact you economically.
Right.
So the question is it worth losing those in order to be able to strengthen the ones that you have a bond with? I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm still searching for it.
I think the safer answer is don't risk it.
Because what are you buying? Well, I guess you're buying a connection with the part of your audience that's really
into that. More
loyalty,
mate. It could be more loyalty. But I think that just by being a great person, I think that you can captivate both sides of the aisle. We'll just say aisle for the sake of it. And
there's an aisle down all these issues.
Sure. So I think that just kind of riding that center line, I think one way that I've looked at it is regardless of where I stand, wouldn't I rather blow up my business so big and still do business with that other opposing side without them knowing, but I can still help them. They're still paying me as well.
Yeah.
I've just figured that's a smarter way to go, especially when you have a company that has 100 employees. There's no way in heck that all of your employees agree with exactly how you believe. Right. So how is that going to affect your work balance as well?
Well, and let me make the other case, Chick-fil-A.
Great case.
Chick-fil-A says, we're a Christian organization and we're taking Sundays off. And we have these principles, and that's what we're going to stand for. And by taking off Sundays, assuming the same amount of sales 7 days a week, most of the times I want to go there.
I know, me too.
It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
It's like a freaky thing. But it's like $650 million a year for that decision of just taking Sundays off.
Oh my gosh.
So, but here's the question. If they didn't take Sundays off, would their audience be as loyal as they are now around their brand, their reputation, what they're willing to stand for?
I don't think so. And I also think this side topic, I think that it almost throws in that scarcity of, oh, geez, they're not going to be open on Sunday. Let me make sure I go and, once or twice during the week to make sure I at least get it. Because I know I'm probably going to be craving it on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I think that there's still a benefit to being closed on Sunday. One, it's great for their employees. I work Sundays, but I'm sure that their employees enjoy that. But I do think that it adds a layer of loyalty to their audience and their customers as well.
and I haven't come to a conclusion, honestly. Like, I have opinions on pro-life, pro-choice.
Sure.
I'm not willing to share them, I don't think. Because why? My cause is network marketing.
Right.
My cause is not a social issue in the world. My cause is growing the reputation brand of our profession, equipping people so they can do better, have freedom that way. I mean, other people can pick that cause. That could be their cause, or trans rights, or child soldiers in Africa, trying to free those child soldiers, or human trafficking, or whatever their cause is.
Right.
And what I find interesting is, and I didn't expect us to go here, but it's an interesting conversation for me. So thank you for participating in it with me as a person who deals with PR and brand and helping organizations and individuals. Inside of these decisions that are being made, these choices that are being made, trying to find out what is authentic, what is true, and trying to really determine, what do I want to stand for? What am I willing to risk other people's judgment for? What position am I going to take about this? Is it fundamental? Like Chick-fil-A, they had some fundamental decisions to make that defined their reputation.
Sure.
That were they weren't going to violate,
right?
And that served them over the course of the years. The Dixie Chicks, remember the Dixie Chicks?
Yep.
After 9/11 or whatever, they were kind of anti-Iraq war. They got canceled.
I know.
Now they're just called the Chicks.
Right.
They don't even talk about Dixie because they got crushed.
Yeah.
And then recently Jason Aldean puts out this song, try that in a small town. And I admire the fact that when he got rushed by everybody in the world, calling him every name in the book, he just said, no apologies. I'm not apologizing because, I believe in what I said. I stand by it, and you can pound sand.
Right.
And he's sold out everywhere. Fans are totally into it. His song's #1. I mean, all of this stuff's going on, right? So some people kind of fold in these situations. Other people stand up.
Sure.
Oh, it's just so
But if you look at his audience with what he said, I think his audience really aligns with exactly what he said. And I think that definitely plays a part in that. Regardless, like you said, right? It's not right or wrong. I just think that
there are consequences, but I think the brand can kind of influence those consequences based upon how they react to adversity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because if he takes the stance of, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
So sorry. Apology.
Then it becomes, I messed up.
Then his audience, or like, Bud Light.
That was bad.
To some, right? Bud Light putting out a trans person as a spokesperson.
Sure.
Kind of, in my opinion, being a little bit tone deaf to their audience. And they paid a huge price in stock valuation and those types of the consequences of that. And kind of apology,
right?
Kind of, but it's kind of weak.
More it's just retracting. It's just
retracting, pulling back. Or people talk about Target. People talk about all these different things that are going on. And I'm trying to find the answer as I'm having this conversation.
Right.
I'm walking my way through it. And I guess as I'm hearing myself talk and we're going through these different examples, it's kind of how important is it to you in your brand? And then how are you going to respond to the negative feedback? Are you going to crumble or are you going to double down? You can say, nope, no apologies. That is what I believe.
Sure.
There
is no right or wrong, of course.
There are consequences.
There are consequences.
But the response can help you manage those consequences.
Right.
Yes.
And this, I still stand firm because I have said certain things that were controversial, just what I believe, of course, you know, and not that they were about crazy topics, but just certain things that some people may not have agreed with.
Right.
And the reason why I could see myself doing it, continuously doing it in the future, not making it my brand, not that everything I post has to be about that. Maybe that's, you know, less than 0.5% of what I post about, but I have received I'm talking 10s, 20, 30 messages from every post that I deliver about, wow, Dillon, I actually was on the opposite side of that belief. And now because of how you delivered your thoughts about it, I'm actually transitioning.
Really?
I have. Huh. Yeah. But I think it's how you deliver the message. I don't think it's necessarily what you say. I think it's how you say it and the intent as you're saying it. If you're not coming from a place of hate, but you're coming from a place of, this is why I believe it. And this is, you know, just where I stand.
I see these brands, and it seems like the successful ones that navigate this, the price of entry is not giving a shit. The price of entry is just saying, nope, this is what I believe.
Right.
You know, I'm pro Biden, or I'm pro Trump.
Sure.
Or, you know, whatever. You pick it and deal with it. So sorry, you know, that's my belief.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, hiding and running away from it. Or apologizing for it or whatever.
I think you do have to own the whatever move you make. I think you have to own it. And when I say own it, I don't mean a big old apology. I think you have to follow through with it, or else you're kind of admitting that you're actually doing something wrong. Depending on what it is. I'm not saying like everything.
Yeah. Well, you can unintentionally offend somebody.
Right.
But I think it was Ayn Rand that said that you should never accept an unearned guilt.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody's trying to make you feel guilty for something that you didn't earn, feeling guilty, it's not worthy of you feeling guilty. Over, you shouldn't accept it.
Yeah, I agree.
So super interesting conversation. Would you like to dominate in network marketing? Would you like to go through the ranks, get to the top in your network marketing company? Well, I've got something to tell you. You can get inspired all you want. You can be motivated all you want. But when you're done jumping up and down, the answer to dominance is education. You have to learn what the professionals do. What do these people do that's so different? How do they recruit on demand? How do they build teams and duplicate like crazy? How do they become such effective leaders? This is not something that you are born with. It's something that you learn. And GoPro Experience this year, December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. This is the Super Bowl of network marketing. This is the World Cup of network marketing. This 3-day event, guess what you'll learn? How to dominate, how to crush it, how to have a breakthrough, how to stop crawling in network marketing, how to have the information and the education and the roadmap necessary to get the results that you've always wanted. If you're hungry, if you're willing, if you're coachable, you need to be at GoPro, December 1, 2, and 3. Click on the link if you're serious about your career. Let us help you become a recruiting machine, duplicate like crazy, and be an amazing leader. 3 days to change your life. You cannot afford to miss it. Click on the link and I'll see you there. In your work, as people build their brand, and I think as people build their brand, they just need to be aware of what do they want to stand for? What do they want to be known for?
Everyone should have their own core values, I believe. Core values. Starting there.
Core values. So when you work with your clients, you try to determine what are their core values.
We do try to help them come up with 4 core values. And if they're not sure, we can kind of come up with somewhat generic ones. And they can change over time. That's okay.
Can you give me an example of some of those values? Because I'm sure they're different for everybody, but so people get in their minds. What
typically it's going to be, you know, like extreme ownership, trust, just, of course, the whole just working hard and like never giving up. The reason the never giving up tends to be one of the most popular ones for my clients is because building your brand is difficult. And it's the consistency over time that builds the brand too. You've never, like if you started social media today, you wouldn't be the same Eric you were today.
Yeah.
You're the Eric today that everybody looks up to because you've been doing this for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's the consistency over time that builds the brand.
So let's play a game.
Sure.
I'm gonna give you a person, and I want you to tell me what you think their core values are, or a few of their core values. Okay.
Okay.
What they're known for.
Sure.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Trust, vulnerability. He's very loyal, and he's friendly.
Okay. I would say wine, media, hard work,
sure, garage
sailing,
flipping,
sports cards.
Okay, so more topics.
No, it's not. I mean, it's a whole ecosystem.
Sure.
What is he known for? You know, and it's funny because he used to be known for grind, grit.
Yeah, just hustle.
The hustle culture.
Yeah.
And now it's a little bit more about happiness.
Right.
Have you seen him?
Yeah, it is. Positivity.
You know, be happy, be grateful, be appreciative. You got time. It's going to be okay. So he's been a little bit more encouraging. Grant Cardone, what's he known for?
Jets, helicopters, cash, real estate, of course.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I wanted to mention too, is in the very beginning, when we're coming up with the core values, there's the most important question we always ask our clients. What do you want to be known for? If you can think of that one word, not 2, 3, or 4.
Right.
So when people think of me, I want them to think of PR. When people think of PR, I also want them to think of Dillon Kivo. So it's vice versa. Right. It's not just when they think of Eric, they think of network marketing. It's when they think of network marketing, we want them thinking of Eric.
So with Grant, for me, it's 10X hustle culture. Whatever you're going to do it big. Don't spend your earned income. Get something into real estate.
Yep.
He wanted to build a real estate empire. It's obvious.
Sure.
Right. And big swinging.
Very much.
He's going to swing big. He's not going small.
Yeah.
Right. And some of that is part of the lifestyle stuff, but wanting to be a player. So if you take like a Brad Lee,
he's kind of similar though to a Cardone. In your face a little bit.
In your face, irreverent, sense of humor.
Very bold.
Yeah. Got some charisma.
Right.
So if you take a John Maxwell,
sales.
More leadership.
Yeah.
So you take kind of trusted, mentor, leader. There's a little bit of spiritual in there.
Sure,
that's kind of woven in.
Speaker, obviously,
and you think about
philanthropy too.
Philanthropy for sure. Rob Dyrdek, who's a friend, ridiculousness.
Yeah. Skateboarding too.
Skateboarding,
funny,
ridiculousness.
Comedy.
Entrepreneur, he's building all that stuff, podcast, different types of things. So I think I know what I'm known for, but and that's intentional too.
Yeah, it is, and and you can be known. You can kind of instill those thoughts and ideas into other people by constantly talking about that thing. So a lot of people are like, okay, well, how do I do it? And that's what you do, is you talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
So constantly on my social media, it's here's different, articles that we've published for clients, or this is what you can do if you don't want to hire. Yeah, proof. That's what it is. If you don't want to hire a PR firm, that's okay. You can go try to pitch these journalists and reporters, and you can do that all day long, but just understand that only 1% of pitches typically get accepted. So if you want to cut through the noise, and if you value your time more than you do money, like most people should, hire a pro.
Interesting. So when you think about Steve Jobs, some of it's image.
It is,
right?
For sure.
So Steve Jobs was like the black turtleneck or black tee or whatever, jeans and sneakers. That's what he wore every single day. Or like an Alex Hormozy, our friend Alex,
tank top,
who wears a
Crocs
tank top with acquisition.com on it, like a denim over thing, like a breathe right nose strip on, and a baseball cap,
long
with a big
hair,
beard, and cut off shorts,
jean shorts,
and literally wears that every single day.
Yeah, no matter where he goes.
No matter where he goes, if it's on stage, if he's at a restaurant, whatever, that's what he's wearing. That's become part of it. So sometimes it's image.
Yeah, it is.
What you look like.
Sure.
And sometimes it's, It's like Don King. Remember the promoter Don King used to have the hair straight up, the boxing guy?
Yeah.
If you ever cut his hair, it would just ruin the whole brand of everything.
Absolutely.
It kind of gets stuck with it. So anyway, for the listeners at home, my encouragement to you is decide what you want to be known for.
First.
What are your core principles? What are your core values? What are your causes that are important? What are the messages that you really truly believe in and you don't care what other people think? How do you want to look in order to be able to represent that thing? How are you going to communicate that thing? And it can shift.
Yeah, it can.
Different brands, iconic brands have shifted a bit over time. Richard Branson, who's also a friend, kind of known as being an adventurer, an iconic entrepreneur.
Sure.
A free spirit, fun, excitement, but a real player as well,
Very much.
So yeah, you think about any of these people, think about any famous person. What are they known for? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. It's usually one thing.
Identify those things. Now, let's say a person decides before they hire a professional like yourself, what can they do in order to be able to build a brand with the tools that are available today?
Number one is going to be social media. And I know that sounds so obvious, but a lot of people download the apps, but they don't use them. Social media is supposed to be social. I would always recommend start by posting once a week, and every 2 weeks or so, increase it to twice a week, 3 times a week, until you're posting multiple times every single day. Alex Hormozi, 250 pieces of content every single week. It's the consistency over time that builds the brand. And so it's definitely on social media. And you're like, what?
And you're going to be repeating those themes, right?
You're
going to talk different ways, stories, different messages around those themes, but the themes are going to kind of be constant.
That's right.
And you're going to find creative ways to continue to say it.
Yeah. And if
it's going to start to attract your tribe.
And if it's part of your first few posts and you literally don't know what to post about, people want to know you. People want to know Eric. People want to know, your audience. Yeah. And it's like people connect people. Just tell them your message. A lot of people say like, well, I don't have a college degree or I don't have much experience. And what I tell them is your message is your message. So make sure that when you're talking to people, just let them in and who you are. And if the video is shaky and if your voice is a little cracky, like that's okay, because people can really just relate with that. The vulnerability and just being like, just open to just posting yourself and your life, just document what you're doing and building your business. That's a great first step.
There's a great book by Frank Capra called The Name Above the Title. It's an old book from an old director. And he said there's a cardinal rule in movie making. And the cardinal rule is thou shalt not be boring. You have to find a way to be interesting.
Yeah.
So be authentic, yes, but find an interesting way to do it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it's in your vulnerability or whether it's in your excitement or something, your tone of voice, a smile on your face.
Right.
If you're beautiful, you have an advantage. If you're ugly, you kind of have an advantage.
You do.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're in between, you better do something.
Yeah. Then you really have to do something.
Yeah. Make yourself prettier or uglier.
Yeah.
Or jump up and down or be a goofball.
Be funny.
Something. So people go, oh, he's that funny guy.
Right.
He's the goofball.
Right. And a great way to captivate people is be entertaining first. And then they'll really listen to what you have to say.
Right.
Because if you're just that funny, guy or girl,
preachy or you're boring or you're dull.
Sure.
Yeah, you better find a way to stand out.
Yes.
Because you got to stand out. And it doesn't take much and it doesn't take long.
You can do it in just a few months.
Yeah. I've watched once people said, you know what, this is what I want to stand for. I'm going to go find my tribe. I'm going to just start saying what I believe and what I want to attract. And I'm going to find my tribe and I don't care. And I'm going to find every creative way to do it. And once they make the commitment to do it and they get some consistency around it, they start to attract their tribe pretty quick.
Oh yeah. And as their tribe gets stronger and stronger because they start networking within their tribe.
Yeah, you should check this guy out. You should check this girl out.
For sure. And even doing, podcasts with other people the good thing is you're able to captivate their audience. Or another free tool, go live on Instagram with somebody who's within the same audience as you. If you have 1,000 followers, they have 1,000 followers, you both go live together. Well, now there's 2,000 followers that are both, that have the same similar interests. They're probably going to follow both of you.
Right.
And so it's the sharing of the audiences that is absolutely free. And the people, people they want to know more people like themselves. It's building a community.
Yeah. All right. So you're going to identify what you want to stand for. And a lot of people who are in business, they just go on social and they just business. They don't really let people know what they stand for. So they're not really necessarily building a tribe. They are more
just giving info.
They're, just selling all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, marry me, marry me, marry me, marry me, marry me, marry me.
Sure.
Versus, I don't know you yet.
Connection.
I got to get to know you. I want to date you a little bit before we get there.
Right.
Right. So, all right. So find a way to be interesting. Share what you believe. What are your passions? What are you into? The more specific you can get on that, probably the better.
Absolutely.
You become known as the red Ferrari guy, or you become known as the, supercar blondie.
Yeah. Watch. Yeah. She blew up.
This blonde chick out there looking at supercars. She become known as Supercar Blondie. I don't even know her name.
Right. I know.
But don't need to. That's her brand.
Yeah.
So you do that and you start leaning into social. In addition to doing that, once you've kind of gone that route, which is where most people go, and you're kind of growing all platforms, and I'm leaning more into content, et cetera.
Sure.
How valuable is a podcast? Because there's millions of podcasts out there. Most of them don't get past 5 episodes.
Sure.
They come and they go. But if you're really into your cause, your mission, should a person start a podcast about their topic and to find their tribe?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The reason why they should is because there are certain people out there where they're not necessarily on all the few social media platforms that you might be living on every day. They might be on YouTube or listening to audio podcasts, right? Well, the thing is you can, like this, we take this visual podcast, you can actually repurpose it for other channels as well.
Yeah, we'll take clips of this and we'll throw it up.
Sure. Yeah. And that's still technically free. And so podcasts I think are one of in my opinion, it's replacing radio.
Yeah.
I do think that you're able to connect.
I think it's replacing traditional news media where people are consuming content. I think in the last year, traditional mainstream media news lost.
It's going down for sure.
And decentralized news, where you find your trusted source for whatever it is that you're interested in. And maybe even the counterpoint to that, the enemy of that, to see what they're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Because even like 4 or 5 years ago, I would basically flip between CNN and MSNBC and Fox.
Sure.
To get different opinions on the same topic. And it was almost like, they have a different prism to
way
look at
different
the world. And now I almost get zero from any of those sources. It's all from different people that I follow and podcasts.
Yeah, it's people. That's the difference.
Yes, but they earn my trust.
Right.
They either have my values or the opposite side of my values, and I can appreciate them. Like Bill Maher is a good example. I'm more on the conservative side.
Sure.
He's more on the liberal side.
Right.
But I think he's a reasonable.
He's tasteful with it though.
Yeah, he's a reasonable liberal person. He's an atheist. I'm not an atheist. But I'm okay with that because I want to kind of get the counterpoint.
Right.
To make sure that I'm not blind to my own, circle and belief systems.
Yeah. So you see both sides.
Yeah. So, all right. I agree that a person should start a podcast. I started and stopped a podcast and was stupid to do that. And now really ramping it up again and excited, and I'm enjoying the conversations, and I'm kind of doing it for me. And if people enjoy to listen, fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying the conversations as we go. So third area. So one pillar is social media. Second pillar, call it podcast.
Right.
Some sort of channel, show, something. That where you're going to be either curating content around stuff that you're interested in,
right?
Gathering it from sources, or you're the source because you become something of an expert,
right?
In that thing. And then the third is to go to media outlets with a professional,
sure,
and get yourself seen in Forbes or in the Wall Street Journal or Yahoo or whatever. That's where you live.
Yes.
That's what you do.
Yes.
Talk to me about what happens when a person I'm guessing most of your clients have already done some social and done some podcasts by the time they get to you.
It's a mixed bag it's a mixed bag. I mean, most do have a social media platform or a presence at least. When we start working with people, it's either they're just launching a business or they've been in business for 10, 20 years and they're trying to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Everybody, whether you're starting a business or if you're in the middle of an exit or whatever the case is, you need to get PR. And the reason why, it's third party credibility.
Right.
And the difference is you're able to hijack the authority of Forbes. It's Forbes telling the world that Eric's really good at what he does. It's not you telling the world that you're really good at what you do. You're being validated by Forbes, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, because they've already amassed the credibility of, hundreds of millions of people. People are already listening to these sources. Another benefit of PR is you're able to captivate that audience who doesn't know who you are, and you're able to become more discoverable. Many different ways on Google. Just Google digital footprint alone. If people are searching for a specific topic that let's just say it's PR, and there's an article about PR and it happens to mention Dillon Kivo, myself, well, then who's this person? They click on the link, they go to our website, they call us, and then now they're a client. It's also a form of lead generation. At the best form, it's like a warm referral. So there's a lot of benefits.
So getting your name out there, number one, becoming an authority,
definitely
in your area, number two, becoming more trusted from your clients, your team.
Right.
It's going to respect you different if all of a sudden you're on the cover of something or you're featured in an article. Respect is going on. Also kind of talk about like reputation management, because we live in a world where somebody's building somebody up, somebody's trying to tear that same person down.
Sure.
Just to take the other side.
Right.
Just for fun, you know? And sometimes it's accurate and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's literally slanderous. But they hide anonymously when they're doing that. I've had that happen to me. So, how important is kind of controlling the headline? If somebody's being treated unfairly, let's take both cases. Let's say somebody's made a mistake.
Sure.
And now they're rebuilding their reputation.
Right.
Let's say it was a big stumble. They're rebuilding their reputation. Let's say they had to go file bankruptcy or something and they're embarrassed.
Sure.
And that's searchable and findable.
Right. Or mugshots is a big thing.
Or a mugshot. They were arrested or for some situation. Then being able to kind of rehabilitate their image is one aspect of things. And the other thing is just to provide the counterpoint to whatever some critic is saying.
Right. Like the opposing side.
Yeah. If somebody takes some shot, there's by going to some third party thing, you can do a little bit of brand management. Yeah. Oh,
absolutely. So the reason why people love working with us too is because what we do is we make sure they don't have to be in a PR crisis to work with us. What we do is we actually get ahead of it. So we consistently pump out positive PR placements on a monthly basis. So in the unfortunate event of a year, 2 years down the road, they do get that shot.
Somebody's going to take a shot. I mean, just take a look at how many shots Apple has taken at it right now.
Sure.
How many lawsuits Microsoft is in right now, whatever.
Right.
There's always going to be some negative attached to some brand.
Right. Now, the only time I would say that it's okay, I would advise my clients that it's okay if they actually do a public apology, if it's obvious they messed up. Yeah. Let's just say it's a mugshot for something they actually did. There's no story behind it. Own it, apologize. But there's different where, let's just say a competitor hires a journalist and gives them false information about you. And then there's accusatory articles that are coming out about you. I do think the best way to combat that, it's not by posting against that person, because then you're just driving more attention and your audience towards something that's negative. Yeah. You go the opposite way and you point everything that's, how you have
tell the truth in a different direction.
Well, sometimes it's not even talking about it. Sometimes it's just positively, continuously building up your brand and just having positive articles, not even related to that.
Right.
It's just completely separate, because some people think, oh, you need to have a direct response to that argument or to that opposing side. Whereas I'm more of the side of like, don't give it more attention than it already has. Because then you're kind of promoting it more. And I know everything really is case by case basis, but majority of the time it's like I had some crazy YouTuber had like 500,000 followers or subscribers post this, basically a hit piece against me, how I build brands and charge money for it.
Wow.
It was crazy. Anyways, I've never reached out to him. I've never said, this is my side. I just left it alone.
Leave it alone.
And I've never heard anybody say, Dillon, I'm not doing business with you because of this person.
Sure.
You know, so it happens.
Well, here's what I know. I mean, if anybody's out there doing anything, at some point, somebody's going to take a shot. Somebody, you know, in network marketing, somebody's going to be part of your team and leaves and wasn't happy and blames you.
Right.
Or company goes out of business and, you know, you get blamed for it. Or, you know, or somebody gets a DUI or a DWI and they really got a DWI.
Right.
Or somebody who's, you know, super Christian gets a divorce or something.
Right.
And, you know, all of a sudden people like to pile on, right? It's interesting culture we live in, you know, the build up, the tear down, the build up, the tear down. But one thing that I find interesting, the reason why I like working with you is if you're an entrepreneur, I think you need to be in control of your headline.
Controlling the story.
Whatever headline you want to put out in the world, your brand, your message, your mission, your cause, all of that stuff. Let people say what they're going to say, do what they're going to do. But you need to be in control of your headline.
Right.
Is that important?
It is. It's the most important thing. And I do believe that you need to take control of your brand or somebody's going to take control of it for you. And that's why when people say, oh, how important is building my personal brand? I don't think it's a difference maker. I think building your personal brand is the biggest difference maker.
Really?
I think that's actually what separates you from the person next to you. I think it's the difference between why people hire you and why people don't hire you.
Well, the brand is one thing. You got to deliver though.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
you could have a brand that's unbelievable, but it wouldn't stay a good brand for very long if you're just good at saying it.
Of course.
Everybody's going to let you know, well, you know, they didn't really deliver.
Of course.
You know, or we didn't get the experience that we wanted. Now you get the negative reviews on the actual experience. So I guess that's a pretty short cycle.
Right,
if you're doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super interesting. Here's my point, and we'll put links if people want to work with you or would like to get your help getting their story out to the world in the show description for everybody. But one, decide what you want to be known for and who's your tribe, right?
Yep.
Two, get active on social, even if you're not comfortable doing it. Find somebody to help you. If you can't do it yourself, find somebody. But there's so many tools today.
Oh, YouTube.
That make it not even just the platforms. I'm talking about the tools to put captions on or edit. All these different things that people can do. It's much easier than it's ever been to be able to put out some good stuff. Be interesting, right? Third, I think you should have a podcast or a channel of some sort. I decided to do this video and audio, right, where people want to watch. And then fourth, you might think that this is out of your reach to get some articles out there into the world in, your story told in major publications, but it's actually not.
It's easy.
Yeah. I mean, you are very successful helping entrepreneurs and brands of all types get their story out to be able to help them kind of strengthen their brand with the third-party credibility that they gain from those different publications.
Right.
Yeah. So give people kind of some closing thoughts as far as, if they're an entrepreneur, they're a solopreneur, what should they be thinking about? I just kind of summarized, but anything in addition to that they should be thinking about as they're going out there in the world?
Another piece that we didn't hit is very important. It's as simple as having a website. Even if it's a one-pager website, you need a home.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
You want to make sure that you're able to host everything in one location, so you drive attention to that website.
So principles, what you want to be known for, social, website.
Yep.
podcast, media,
PR. Yep.
PR.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the biggest thing is you need that hub, especially when people are Googling you. You need a home base.
Yep.
I think of it like a spider where all of the legs are a different social media platform, or some of them are PR, but you need that body to be the home base. And that's your website.
Love that.
And I'd say the biggest advice, it's actually starting today. And as I know that sounds very cliche,
Start
but
messy.
It's the thing is I talk to so many people. I'll talk to somebody today and I'll talk to them in 6 months from now. And like, how's your brand? You know, how are you building things up with social media? Oh, Dillon, I'm still picking out my colors. I'm still picking out the font for my website. I'm still trying to build my logo out. And it's like, just start. People want to connect with you. They want to know who you are and they want to do business with you because they like you and they know you and they trust you.
And it can happen pretty fast. Like Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory.
Oh yeah.
Tom and Lisa are friends. And Tom just started his podcast a long time ago.
Sure.
And, you know, over time, just keeps building. But pretty quickly, I mean, he's got 10 million views a month, something like that.
Oh yeah. It's crazy.
A big show that he has. You take like Patrick Bet-David. I think I first saw him talking about the Joe Rogan Spotify deal. He was sitting there behind a desk pointing to, you know, what happened to Spotify stock. And he was talking about that. I think that was the first time he came on my radar, really, which is not that long ago.
Yeah.
3 years or something. I mean, he's been around for a while, but kind of came on my radar 3 years ago. And today he's freaking huge. Beast.
Right.
Beast.
I know. It's one of the biggest now.
Yeah. Taking Alex Hormozy 2 years ago, unknown.
Same thing.
In 2 years, beast.
Millions of followers. Everybody knows who he is.
Yeah. He's all over the place. So it can happen pretty quick, but I think all of those people did the same thing. Just start, learn as you go, and get a little bit better every day.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Well, Dillon, I appreciate you sharing some time. I hope everybody got value from it. And thanks for coming to Vegas.
Thank you.
And hanging out with me.
Yeah, I'm excited. Glad to be here.
So that's our conversation with Dillon Kivo. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that I did. This idea of brand is really, really important. You building your brand, you controlling your messaging is a really big deal. So whether you're starting on your own or you want some help, just start. Just start. If you need some help from Authority Titans or Dillon, just go into the show description, find out where to reach him, and you'll be able to be treated very, very well. He'll take care of you. Okay. So that's it. If you got value from this, please make sure you share it with a friend. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel. Until next time, have an amazing day. Take care. Bye-bye for now.